Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in, as in this week's episode we're going to be discussing the topic of spirit conversations. Also this week we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel in order for spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. And then later on in this week's episode we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the course of this week. So then, let's start the show. As I say, we're talking about spirit conversations. And so in order to receive and be involved with a conversation with spirit, first of all, you have to have that level of acceptance. So you have to tap in, tune in, and zone out. So basically what I mean by that is have that level of openness. And zoning out, I'm referring to not focusing your attention on what's happening in your current reality. In other words, in your earthbound incarnation. Instead, you're putting and placing your attention and focus on the subtle, shall we say, voices, usually predominantly clairaudience, and these come in through your inner ears in your mind. And the best way I can describe this to you is if you have a conversation or if you have a thought in your mind, okay, and you're hearing that thought. For example, if I was going shopping, I'd think in my head and I'd hear my own inner monologue saying, right, I need to go and get some milk, I need some bread, and all of that. You understand where I'm coming from with this. Well, having a conversation with spirit is a different tone of voice responding to your inner monologue, if that makes sense. And you'll know it's not you because it will be coming forward with more detailed and different information that you would never even dream of even thinking. And so this is the level of clairaudience I'm talking about. Now, not everybody is open to receiving this information this way. Some people are more sensitive with their emotions. Well, that is also a conversation in itself, isn't it? When you pick up on people's energy and you feel into their story, you can feel that they're sad, you can feel that there's something not right. That is an entirely different conversation, and one that you can have with spirit if you are that way inclined. I feel very blessed that I'm fortunate enough to work with all the clairsentients, clairsentient, clairaudient, gustinance, voyance, ralliance, cognizance. I feel very blessed that I can do that. But for people that are just starting out, I would say just listen, and don't have any judgment in this process when you're doing it. So in order to have this conversation with spirit, you need to tap in, tune into those frequencies by zoning out of your current reality and focusing in on that inner monologue that we've just spoken about there, and fine-tuning it and listening to that different tone of voice giving you some information back. Now, if you're lucky enough, that different tone of voice will be a different accent, or it could be a male or a female's voice. You will hear it. Once you get used to this level of communication, it will get stronger and you'll hear those characteristics coming forward through that inner world in your mind there. And it's a beautiful experience when you do go through this. So when you get to that level, be courteous. Show that level of respect to that communicator. It is a spirit communicator coming through. So, use your please and thank yous and hello, how are you? Introduce yourself. Let them introduce themselves to you. And like you would in a conversation, allow gaps in that conversation for them to respond. There's people, we can do it in day-to-day life where we can talk over people. And with this being a delicate form of communication, you have to have that sort of restraint. I think that's probably the best word, in order to just be patient and listen to what they have to say. And by doing that, you'll find that the communication will flow a lot stronger, should I say, a lot more freely, and you'll hear more information and detail within that conversation there. And you'll build up that rapport just like you would as you're talking to somebody in the physical realm. Now, what I found with this is that spirit do love to tell their story. So based upon what I've just said there about leaving gaps in the conversation is paramount, really, allowing spirit to come forward for one and then tell their story. Now, several parts of their story, when they're telling it to you, what you will find is they need that little bit of encouragement so that they know that they have your time, your energy, your attention. And you do this by prompting them like you would in every day-to-day conversations. So upon your hearing their story, ask questions along the way, whatever interests you, what they're telling you. And this will, again, help that energy flow, that clarity of the message, and information will be a lot stronger. It's a bit like mediumship, basically, when you go and you watch a medium demonstrate publicly, then they will ask you to either say yes, give your voice to it. If you can take it, say yes. And that giving your voice and your attention to it actually adds to the energy of that message coming through. And it's very much the same when you're communicating with spirit on this level, again, using the internal monologue, clear audience there in order to do that. So yeah, give them that energy and listen and actually learn from them, because spirit do want to help you. Spirit are always around and they're always happy to share what they've gone through with the knowledge that it will help you on your timeline. And so, like I say, don't be afraid to ask questions. And if it doesn't make sense, like you would in the physical realm, you'd ask a question, well, what do you mean by that? And so just keep that energy moving. Now, sometimes the conversations that you can have with spirit can be very cryptic. So almost talking in riddles. Some may say that I do that on this very show, and maybe I do, because a lot of it is channeled. But yeah, sometimes they'll give you elements of the conversation that they're wanting to have with you, and you've got to fill in the gaps. And what I would say with this is that this is where, if you are sensitive with your emotions, clear sentience, then this is where this will come into play with that conversation as you're having it, because you'll feel your way into the conversation. So you'll feel the intention and the sentiment behind the information that spirit communicator is sharing with you. So you will be able to put the pieces together of the conversational puzzle, so to speak, by using your feelings, listening to the information, and then I would say using clear cognizance, clear knowing. Then you will know exactly what information they're bringing through, and you'll understand it more as well. And again, I would say with this process, don't judge the energy and the information that you're picking up. It will be very easy for you to do that by overthinking and saying, am I feeling that correctly? Is that right? No, that can't be right. I'd never do that. I wouldn't do that. Well, it's not you that's bringing forward the information. So by not judging it, you're able to observe it and to obtain the information a lot easier, because you're not putting that energy block ahead of it, so to speak. So also feel your way into the conversation. And with doing this, you'll meet some very, very interesting characters along the way. Now, I myself have met some very unusual characters, lovely spirit communicators, and these have been all over the United Kingdom when I've been out and about on my travels. I think I've spoke about this before, where I've been out and about just exploring a city, and then all of a sudden there's only me in that area, and I hear a spirit communicator coming forward. And it's very peculiar when it does happen, because you're like, what? I wasn't expecting that. And I've heard them talk to me in their local regional accents. So obviously I know it's not me, and I do feel the presence of spirit when they're around. So like I say, you do meet some very interesting characters. And if you imagine, you can actually tap into various timelines upon whatever location you happen to be visiting at the time. And so you'll meet characters from obviously the past that maybe were living in the 1000s, the year 1000 or whatever. And so they will have a different perception and a different way of communicating to you. Completely different to how people communicate in today. And so this goes in alignment with what I was saying. Some spirit communicators, it may feel very cryptic, and maybe that is the way that they used to communicate back then. They didn't have that vocabulary. They would probably just say one word to mean several things. And so this is where you've got to trust your feeling into that conversation. But going back to what I was saying, you'll meet some very interesting communicators there. Some will actually uplift you with their energy, with the information that they're sharing with you. And I'll give you a small example of this. When I was first starting out on my spiritual journey, I was working a 9-to-5 job. And in this job, I worked in a factory, shall we say, and there was lots of other people around. Now, I was hearing spirit very loud, very clear, amongst all of that factory noise and the radio blaring out in the background. I could hear it clear as a bell, as if the spirit were actually standing at the side of me there. And predominantly this was through the gift of clairaudience. And again, it was experienced through that inner monologue. So I was thinking it, and then, I say thinking it, I was communicating through my thoughts to spirit, and then I was getting a response there in a different tone of voice, in a different, I would say, accent as well. I was able to pick up whether it was male or female, obviously, by hearing the tone of voice there. And what I was getting some very popular comedians that were very popular way back in the day, in the late 60s, early 70s. And obviously they'd made their transition to spirit. And I was having a conversation with those, which was very unusual at the time. Being in that sort of factory scenario, I was working at the time, doing my job role. And to everybody that was around, I was just doing my job role. But really, I was doing this as well. I was having a conversation with these old entertainers and they were English entertainers going back to the late 1960s, early 1970s. And they were saying hello. They were giving wisecracks. They were telling me jokes. They were having observational humor with me. They were talking about some of the work colleagues that I was working with, and they was making fun of them in a light-hearted way. They weren't being abusive by any means. But anyway, of course, they were at the top of their game back in that time frame, 60s and 70s. And so I was in hysterics, and I found it very hard not to laugh at what they were saying. So if you can imagine, you're one of my work colleagues working in this environment, and you see this guy in the corner there working away, laughing to himself. You're going to think, hello, what's up with this guy? Is he all right? And so I was aware that I was getting all these stares from the work colleagues there. And it was quite an unusual situation. I had to sort of calm it down to the point where I wasn't laughing out loud, but I was still having these conversations. And actually, it kept me going throughout the day, because they'd come and go throughout the day having these conversations, having a laugh and a joke with me. And it was fantastic. It kept me going because the job was it was a job at the end of the day. It wasn't something that, um, you know what it's like. You just do it, don't you? And so it kept me going throughout the day. And I loved it. It was brilliant. Now, this didn't happen every day. It was every now and again. But the level of communicators that did come through and the characters with that uplifting vibration to help me through that day, it was brilliant. I felt so blessed to have that experience. But one thing I did have to do is to remember where I was in terms of laughing out loud. So I didn't give the game away too much. Because in that environment, and I'm not judging, it was just an observation back in the day, this level of work, mediumship, it was kind of made aware of, but it didn't have the popularity and the acceptance that it has today. And so I had to keep a lid on it at that moment in time in my life. So yeah, definitely, you'll meet some very interesting characters. Like I say, some will uplift you, like the example I've just given you there. But also, on the other end of the scale, some will actually make you feel a little bit down in the dumps as they're telling you their story and sharing what they've experienced when they were going through their life on the earth. Now, this can be for many reasons. One of them is what I've experienced when you do communicate with a spirit communicator and they're telling you their story. It's a form of releasement for them. They're kind of doing a life review, if you like, and with them sort of expressing it, they're accepting it, and they're also releasing some of those attachments that they once had to that lifestyle that they were living in the physical realm. And so in many respects, in my experience of this, they're actually doing a lot of self-healing. So don't judge them when they're talking to you and they're sharing their story with you. Feel very honored that they're opening up to you and that you're part of the process for them to make their healing and transition and leave these old attachments behind so that they can carry on their, shall we say, evolution as a spirit being. So it's a very blessed experience, even though sometimes you may feel like your energy's being pulled down by listening to some of the things that they've had to go through. Just know that you are protected by your spirit team, your spirit guides, and they're not going to allow you to absorb any of this lower based frequency or energy that this communicator is sharing with you upon revealing their story with you. So just observe, allow them to speak, and what you will find is after a period of time when they've told you what they needed to tell you, the energy will feel lighter around you. That spirit communicator will suddenly dissipate into the atmosphere, and then you'll know that you've actually been part of their healing journey, their healing process, as they have shall we say, amplified their vibration and moved into a different frequency as a spirit being. So yeah, it's a brilliant thing. But what I would say is that you may even get people's loved ones, friends or family, communicating with you. This doesn't matter if you're a medium or you're just sensitive. I would say that we all have this potential to communicate with spirit. And again, it's going back to what I was saying at the beginning. It's all about zoning out. You know that daydream feeling where you zone out of your current reality? It's about getting to that level of feeling there. And this is where spirit will take that opportunity to draw forward, blend their energy with you, and then start to communicate with you. So it doesn't matter, if you're not a medium or a sensitive or anything like that. We all have this capability of doing it. So like I say, people's loved ones will take the opportunity to come forward and deliver a message or some information to you about maybe their loved one that's on the earth with you at that moment in time. I mean, I'm sure there's many of you that are listening that have encountered, I've just got a feeling about this, or why am I hearing this song in my head all of a sudden whilst I'm talking to my friend? Well, usually it's because there's a friend or family or somebody in spirit that's taking that opportune moment to step in and just to try their best to bring forward some information so that you can then, with hope, that you can pass that information on to your friend, and that will instantly make them think of that family member or loved one that is in the world of spirit, just by that, maybe that one song that you say to them. You don't have to say that I'm talking to a dead person, because that can freak people out at times. No, what you do say is, I don't know why. You could put it tactfully like this. I don't know why, but I've got this song in my head. It keeps going round in my head. And then you tell them the song, and then instantly they'll say, oh, that reminds me of my granddad. He used to love that song. There you go. You've just delivered your message to that person without actually saying that you're talking to them with your, inner monologue, your spiritual gifts and abilities there, or your sensitivity. So you'll find that people's loved ones will try and get their information through. And if this is in a form of a reading, they'll often tell you what that your client or what that person in front of you has been up to in their life. And they'll tell you, maybe that person has a door in their house and that door needs some oil on it because it keeps squeaking. And nobody else would know that because they haven't been to that house and they haven't experienced that door squeaking. And so this is evidence from spirit, again, letting the client know that they are still very much around and they're using you as a vessel to bring that communication through. Again, by a clear audience there, by you listening, zoning out, and just observing that information that they're giving you. Also, a level of trust is obviously required when you're getting this information, because there'll be part of you that will still think, is that me thinking that? Am I making that up? And then you think, well, why would I make that up? I've got nothing to gain by that. So it's a level of trusting that that information is correct. And you'll know it's correct because you usually get a feeling, a tingle around you, around the physical body. And you'll generally hear that information coming in a different tone of voice, with a different accent. So you'll know that you won't be thinking it. So tuning in, zoning out is key to having this experience. But also it's a wonderful experience, and it's one that can't be taken for granted. I mean, if you think about the level that has to happen behind the scenes. So we're talking about the mechanics of this. We're talking about energy, frequency. We're talking about your emotions, your vibrations. We're talking about your level of receptivity. So being open to hearing spirit communications. Again, a way of doing that is by not judging, by not second guessing yourself, by just observing and being at peace and being at one with the experience that you're encountering. And then obviously spirit, they have to lower their vibrations and match frequencies with us in order to bring forward their communications to us. And there's lots of variables that are at play. Obviously the environment emits a frequency and energy. So the environment that you're located in has to be particularly high vibrational for these communications to come in, or at least as a person, you're blocking out those energies of that environment and just focusing solely on that spirit communicator. So there's all of these things at play in order to get that information through. And what you may find when you are communicating with a spirit, they'll first come through with maybe one word or two words rather than saying a full sentence to you, because it will take less energy from them. It will also get the crux of their message coming through by saying, I don't know, a word like happy, or giving you a name like Thompson and nothing else. It's a quick way of getting the information through to you, and that way you can hold on to that link for a lot longer. With experience and with time and with trusting your abilities, what you will find is you'll be able to have an ongoing conversation and you'll be able to hold that link for longer periods of time. And obviously you can interject and ask questions and then get the response very quickly. But this takes time, it takes practice, and it takes a lot of trust. And also zoning out, that is the key, holding that frequency for spirit whilst doing these communications. But like I say, don't take this for granted, because it's a very sacred experience when you go through it. And it's one that can be taken away at any moment. And this can be taken away by having an alternative thought, by putting a block in front of the communication, by not trusting it. And it can also be taken away by spirit themselves. You know, they may feel that, no, I don't want to connect with that person because they're not thinking pure thoughts. And I don't want to lower my vibration even lower down. So you've got to think of that as well from spirit's point of view. So don't take these things for granted. Energies definitely do come into alignment when they do come through. So everything has to be working at the right frequency. And again, this process, these conversations with spirit, are a great way to help heal both spirit that are making their evolution in the spirit world and they're wanting to cut those cords of attachment in this dimension. So by listening to their story, you can help heal them, but also you can help heal those that are down here, their relatives in the physical realm, by again listening and sharing maybe a song that's rattling around your head all day. That may be the exact song that their loved one in spirit used to love and adore. And that's beautiful evidence that they're still around that person, isn't it? But also guidance as well, and love and respect will be coming through this process whilst you're working and communicating with spirit. So don't second guess what you're picking up. Ask questions like you would in a physical conversation, and just hold that space and allow the answer to come forward. But it's a beautiful encounter, and those of you that are listening, allow yourself to have this experience. Just step out the way, zone out, and just observe. Observations are the key. Observe the thoughts in your mind, and then you'll start to notice this different tone of voice, this different communication coming through, and it will start off very subtle. Like I say, it will, with time, patience, with trust, it will build up, and you will be amazed at the information that comes through. Well, now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is going to be the very first channeling from the world of spirit for the year of 2024. So I'm very excited to hear about what guidance, what we are to be prepared to expect in the year of 2024, and just to hear their wisdoms coming through. As ever, I absolutely adore this part of the show every week. As like you that are listening, I'm unaware what is to come until I hear it replay. Because as many of you know, those of you that do channel or have witnessed people channeling, you go into a form of obviously trance, a deep meditation. And for me personally, when I'm in this sort of level of mediumship, all I can hear is like a muffled talking in the background, but I can't understand what's being said or who's saying it. I don't necessarily feel like I'm in that environment. And many times I do experience, when I do come back round into the room from coming out of that trance state, mediumship, I feel as though I've been sat at the side of myself, because I come back into my physical body, and I assume that I was further to the right of me than where I am when I open my eyes. So it's always interesting to experience that and to witness that spirit do blend in and they bring this truth forward. So I really look forward to this. And can I actually encourage you, if there's any questions regarding the channeling and the trance mediumship, or if you have any questions that you would like to pose to spirit, then please do get in touch and send me your questions, because I would love to ask or set that intention to ask these spirit communicators your questions, and let's see what answers they bring forward for you. Maybe that's something that we can adopt into the new shows within 2024. So bear that in mind. So anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy this first channeling from Spirit of 2024.
What a wonderful time to be alive. It is always a pleasure to come through and talk to you in this manner. We'd like to talk to you about various topics, one of them being your self-resilience and self-respect. Now, there's a lot of you that are going through some very peculiar changes in your life at this moment in time. It will appear to you as it is a complete 360-degree change from your previous mindset and emotional set. What we want to tell you is this is done by design. You have actually elected to choose to move in this direction. At first glance, it will appear to you as quite a shock, but in actual fact, it's going to serve your highest good and your true potential on your soul alignment and with your soul agreement. Now, what we would advise you to reconsider when you're going through these drastic changes in your life is your approach. Rather than being involved with it on an emotional level and using the ego mind in order to construct various barriers and various reasons to be correct and right in your vibration, we implore you to maybe see the bigger picture, the bigger scenario where everybody benefits in this situation, and know that it has been orchestrated in order for this to occur. So everybody involved in the circumstances and the changes, the dramatic changes that are occurring in your life, they will have made this soul agreement with you prior to coming down here in this physical form, in your current form, in order for this to take place. Now, what we say to you, by seeing it from a bigger perspective, you will understand that it needed to happen in order for everybody to evolve emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and also karmically on their pathway, as you'll be cutting cords to the karma and the lessons, and also the perpetual cycle, the loop that your soul has been in for many eons in time. So these situations are there to cut all of that in order for your soul's evolution to expand and grow, and to give unconditionally to millennia of entities, people, vibrations, and such forth and such like. So there's a greater thing at play with all of these things you're going through. We'd also like to let you know that you are evolving in terms of your DNA configuration. You have changed and you've upcycled, and you've activated various codings within yourself that haven't been, shall we say, fully operational for quite some time. And what we mean by this is what most of you may have been experiencing is an element of feeling dizzy, feeling sick, not only in your, shall we say, energetic vibration, but also your physicality. And the reason for this is these frequency changes and upshifts in your vibration and your DNA configuration. And this will enable you to interact with your planet a lot more, shall we say, in harmony with it on a higher vibrational frequency. No longer will you be suckered into making negative choices and negative patterns in your life. Instead, you'll instinctively know when something is correct and when something is out of alignment with you. Whereas prior to this occurring, these DNA reconfigurations, you would have gone with the flow of the general consensus. Instead, you're not afraid to stand alone and stand proud and be resilient in the knowing that you are following your truth as you become more in alignment with these high vibrational frequency codes that are being installed into you. Most of you will notice a dramatic change in your tastes and the things that you enjoy in your life, not only on a dietary level, or it will also occur in your social circles, the people that you mingle with, will start to change, as only those that vibrate a certain frequency will flock together. And those of you that have misalignments within your vibration will continue on your own journey, so that you can come back into either alignment or continue on your high vibrational path moving forward. So there's lots going on at the moment as we reach an end of 2023, moving into 2024. In the year of 2024, there will be lots of changes coming in, not only on an individual basis, but also globally and in your local communities. There will be this, shall we say, elephant in the room type situation where you will know that something is not in alignment with you, and it will stand out like a sore thumb, so to speak. Whereas before you tolerated it and you didn't give it your time and attention, but you was aware of it, but not to the magnitude that you will be. I'm talking of the values in society. I'm talking about the way that society is run and orchestrated in such a way that it only benefits those in a higher standing within your community. There'll be those of you that will spot these loopholes and flaws within your system and will not be taking this any longer. Instead, you'll go about focusing your time, your emotion, your attention on the world in which you would like to live in, and for your family and future generations to live in. So in many respects, by taking this energy and power back to yourself, you'll notice these changes filtering out and ricocheting out into society. But those of you that are listening, you are leaders, forerunners, if you like, trailblazers, whatever terminology you wish to use. You will be putting these ideas and concepts into place in your physical reality. And you do this by focusing on the divine, using these higher upgrades within your energetic system and following the truth of your heart. And in doing so, although to begin with you will find it a little bit uncomfortable, as you'll be going against everything that you've ever been taught in your current frequency, or previous frequency, to be more precise. And so it will take a great degree of courage and bravery when you step forward and start speaking your truth. Some of you may encounter ridicule or finger pointing, or generally people trying to pull your vibration down, but it will not matter one jot to you, because you'll feel it stronger than ever, and that energy that you feel within you that's bringing those truth vibrations to the surface will propel you forward so that you can speak your truth and walk on your pathway in this fashion. So there's a lot happening at the end of 2023, moving into 2024, more than we can ever describe to you in this allotted time that we have with you on this segment today. We also would like to tell you about the upshifts in relationships and in terms of connections of the soul with other individuals. Like we said earlier, people will align with you, and those that no longer are on the same vibrational frequency will go about their own business in their own manner. And this is not, we want you to send them unconditional love and blessings, and we don't want any negative upheaval in this transitional process. Instead, we say focus on how you feel and where you're going. And this is not a selfish act by no means. When you send that unconditional love to those individuals that are going through this transitional shift, that will help them to become more in alignment with who they are, as they have slightly come astray off their pathway. But you'll see, with focusing your energy on where you're going, you're paying it forward not only to your future self, your future generations, your family, and also those who come after you, but also you're paying all this energy back to the universe, so that this great universe can expand and grow at a more rapid rate. And so those people you thought you left behind, it will help them indeed to fulfill the tasks on their timeline, on their journey. So don't feel bad about shifting lanes or changing gears as this is the natural order of things. We also like you to pay attention, like we say, to the soul connections that will be coming into play, and you'll feel like these people feel like home to you. That's the distinction between those people that you know and interact with and these soul people that come in. And people that you may not know on a detailed level will come in, and you will feel like you've known them for eons of time. It will feel so beautiful, the connections that are about to unfold for those of you that are paying attention and listening to what we're having to say today. We say to you, don't put your barriers up, trust the process, and you will heal as you thrive and interact with these individuals. It will be a connection like none other that you've experienced within your life on this incarnation that you're previously in at the moment. So take every moment with ease and grace and gratitude, and you will be remarkably rewarded as a result of having that level of honesty and appreciation in that situation. Well, we're coming to an end of what we wanted to transmute over and communicate to you in this session. So we hope the information has found you well, and we're going to pass you quickly to another communicator that wishes to bring in some sound healing frequencies that will help you ascend and grow into these new vibrations that we're referring to in this communication. So thank you for listening, and we wish you all the very best. And remember, we're always around you to help you ascend, grow, and understand what is occurring in your current reality.
Wow, what a wonderful transmission there. The first one of 2024 from Spirit. Absolutely incredible. Interesting to hear about our frequency and energy changing with that level of self-respect. And also that we're coming into alignment with our soul agreement, our soul path, more so in this year than ever previously before there, and seeing the bigger picture rather than just focusing on how we're connected. Look at how we are all connected was very interesting hearing that as well. And cutting cords of attachment, those old lessons, that karmic attachment there changing this year as well, with our vibration and our DNA changing, which is going to also change the way that we look at things and how we interact with others. Feeling dizzy. Now, this is something that I've been experiencing recently as well. So it was interesting to hear Spirit talk about that. Physically feeling dizzy, feeling sick. And it was nice to hear the reason behind that is the vibration changing in the universe. And we're just catching up. We're connecting with these vibrations. And we're to be expected to go through this process as feeling a little bit under the weather as we move into alignment there. So that made a lot of sense hearing that as well. As we're harmonizing with the universe, it was nice to hear that sentiment put across to us in that fashion, with all of these ailments that we're going to go through. Also feeling the truth vibrations. So we'll feel our way through our day-to-day living. And if anything doesn't sit right with us, we're to trust that vibration and maybe adjust in accordance with the vibration of the heart chakra there, and know that this will also help us move forward there in order to understand what really is the truth and our truth on our pathway and our calling there. Our likes will change, so our diet will change. The people that we associate ourselves will change. For many of us, that's been occurring towards the latter part of 2023. But it was interesting to hear that that's going to continue to shift and evolve as we enter this year of 2024 there. Also, 2024, big changes. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I certainly feel it. There's an air of excitement, but also there's this air of like not knowing the answers and being okay with not knowing those answers, and just sort of this level of trust. And this new vibration. I'm certainly feeling those vibrations at the moment there as well. Also, our sensitivity will show us that pathway there. And really interesting to hear about that the society values will change. So we're no longer accepting things told to us. In fact, we're going to trust what we're feeling, what we're experiencing, and design our own pathway within our own communities and societies. That sounds very interesting. It sounds something that I'd certainly be interested in exploring more with playful curiosity. As we look and see these flaws in the system there. Also, I don't know about anybody else, but I experienced during the sound healing at the end of that transmission from Spirit, I got tingles all the way down my physical body, chills as well. I felt this clearing energy, clearing my head, clearing the pressure around my head there as I was listening and feeling into that vibration. And also I felt lighter there as well. And I felt my body and my energy body balancing upon listening to that frequency. And I just feel like I've got more energy as a result of experiencing that. So I hope you've experienced something with listening to that there from Spirit. So we're going to move on to the next part of the show, which is this week's energy forecast reading, the first one of 2024. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's forecast reading.
Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 1st of January 2024. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers, and also link in with the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. And here we go. Here's your card for this week's forecast reading. So linking into the energy of this card, first of all, my guides are telling me that this week is going to be a very fruitful one, yet exciting one. But you're not to rush. You are to give yourself time to adjust to these new frequencies, these new energies that are greeting us all in the year of 2024. Now, with this being said, you will experience a level of fatigue around your physicality. Also, you may feel a little bit of dizziness around yourself there, and also watch out for the ringing in the ears. Now, having said all this, it's going to be very subtle. So the ringing in the ears will be like a very high-pitched frequency tone that will last for part of a second. Those of you that are paying attention will notice this, and also you'll notice this level of you feeling slightly lightheaded as well this week. Now, this is because we're moving into new vibrations, and these vibrations are aligning with us and we're aligning with them. So my guides are saying be gentle with yourself this week. Don't rush ahead. You'll have lots of plans, lots of ideas, and you'll be wanting to make this year your year. And the key to this year for everybody that's listening to this is to relax into it. Don't push too hard. Now, there'll be a lot of you out there that will say, but I've got this to do. I want to do this. I want to achieve that. That's fine. It's good to have a plan, but have a relaxed view about achieving it. So you don't need to know every answer. Just trust in the universe to work with your beautiful energy there as well. Also this week, you will feel your heart opening up a little bit more. You'll feel that warmth in your heart chakra, and you'll find yourself wanting to open up to people and express more about not only you, but your experiences. As what you will find is this is going to help other people to evolve and expand and also blend with these new vibrations of 2024. So if you feel that urge to open up and express yourself, please trust that and do it accordingly. Those of you that are open to love and romance will find that this week will find you actually being more open again with your emotions, wanting to share your innermost emotions, with your desires there as well with people. And also what you will find is this magnetic pull occurring around you. You'll find that this magnet around your heart will be amplified. Now, also with saying this also goes if you're in a relationship, also goes if you're married, if you're single, whatever your status is there, you will feel this pull around your heart chakra. And there'll be some of you that will be trying to work it out, will be trying to hold it back and restrict yourself from experiencing this opening of the heart. My guides are saying this will only delay matters, and you'll cause yourself frustration and anguish should you choose not to embrace these new frequencies and go with the flow and open up that heart chakra of yours. This year is all about opening up and expanding. So let's turn over the card and see what the card says for you. So at the top of the card there, it reads King of Earth. This is talking about the masculine energy. It's talking about having a plan, but not necessarily knowing how you're going to get the outcome there. Allowing others to do it for you. In other words, allowing the universe and the frequencies to do it for you, but take that responsibility, have a plan in your mind anyway. Earth to me represents grounding. It represents being present in your life, and it's also representing you getting out and about more in nature, regardless of what the weather is doing. Now, there'll be many people that will say, I'm not going out in this weather. It's too wet. It's too windy. It's too snowy. There'll be an excuse for everything. This card is saying that to enable you to attach to these new vibrations and align with them, getting outside in nature and blending with these new frequencies will actually help you, and you will find the transition a lot more easier for you there as well, and you'll embrace it as well. At the bottom, the inscription reads, prosperous, generous, and successful. With this being said, I feel as though it's referring to these new vibrations that we keep talking about in this reading today. These new heightened vibrations. Also, it's talking about you being generous with your time, with your emotions, and also your experiences that you have encountered over your life, as this will help other people, again, ascend and grow on their pathway there as well. And successful, it's all down to you, is what I'm being told. It's reliant upon you releasing that urge to control. Yes, have a plan, but don't necessarily be that stringent and that strict that you need to know the outcome right here, right now, because that will be your downfall within this year and also within this week. So start as you mean to go on. So let's take a look into the artwork. We have a beautiful green moving into lime green at the bottom there around the edge of the card. Green to me indicates growth in your life there. Also indicates nature and nurturing your own nature and allowing yourself to flourish and grow at the right time, at the right place there. Again, trusting the wisdom of the universe to help you do that. Also, it's referring to the heart chakra and that level of openness and that growth within the heart with your emotions there. And you will find yourself being heart-focused, heart-led the first week of this year. So you'll be doing things that bring you that joy in your heart, that bring you that gratitude in your heart, and actually that makes you feel good about you as a person there. Because it's moving into a lime-colored green, it is telling you not to dilute your energy in order to fit in with other people's agendas or storylines of you. It's more stronger than now that you should focus upon your own calling, your own truth there as well. So don't dilute yourself is what the card is saying. Looking into the artwork, again, we've got this masculine energy there. He's looking rather relaxed, very focused. If we look at his facial features there, he's looking ahead in the distance. So that's saying he has a plan. It's saying that you will have a plan this week. And he's got one hand in his pocket there. So he's very relaxed, very casual, but he's looking very focused at the same time. He's holding what I would describe as a coin, a giant coin. And so to me, that represents you have abundance in your own hands. It's where you place your time, your focus, your attention. You have that control to set the ball rolling this week of how you want your year to unfold for you. So why not show that level of focus and attention on what you do desire this year and leave it to the universe. It's talking about manifestation of this card is as well. Also, there's a tree in the background that's talking about connecting with nature, again, staying centered, being aligned, being present. And there's actually a coin attached on the trunk of the tree there as well. That's connected to roots. That's telling you to be very resilient with your finances this year. It'd be so easy to fritter away money and spend, particularly after Christmas. We're in that sort of excitable atmosphere there, but it's telling you to be resilient with your finances and just invest accordingly. See things as an investment rather than an expenditure. And then that way you will utilize all of your finances and all of your energy very, very wisely. So that's what I picked up for this week's forecast reading, the first one of 2024. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading and you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link, which is a virtual tip jar. So if you feel compelled to send me a tip, all of your donations will be gratefully received and appreciated and used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do to help people raise their vibrations and ascend. If you're wanting to have a private reading or any other of my services, go over to www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com or find me on Facebook, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium. In the meantime, join me every Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help. Thank you very much. Have a very successful week in 2024. Bye for now.
Well, it sounds like we're all set for some marvellous changes coming into our year of 2024. Listening to that forecast reading there, I do hope that aligns with you and helps you navigate your way through these new twists and turns and new times of 2024 there. Interesting to hear about, obviously, all of these energies changing and that we are to not necessarily know the answer, but just to go with the intentional energy and notice these signs and subtle nuances from the universe that's going to help us throughout our course of this week and also 2024. Very interesting. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's show, the first one of 2024. And I keep saying 2024 to remind myself that we're in a new year. It's so easy, isn't it, to get stuck to the old energy of the previous year, as has been suggested by the communicators and Spirit this week, that we're moving beyond that. We're changing and evolving and into these new vibrations there. So can I just suggest that if you do have any stories of a paranormal or self-help or spiritual development nature that you feel comfortable about sharing with the listeners of the show, and you're happy for me to read out on the show, then please do contact me at www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glennboddice@live.co.uk. It would be marvellous to hear from you and have that interaction and your feedback about the show. Also, I'm very excited. There's going to be some new changes with the show this year as well. And there's going to be some beautiful channelings with Christina Bloom that's going to be coming in. So keep an eye out and an ear out for that in the up and coming months there. So whatever it is you're doing, enjoy your first week of this year. Do it with love and peace and gratitude and move freely throughout the course of your week. You can join me at the same time, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time next week on Monday with this show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice on www.pulsetalkradio.com. See you soon. Have a good week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium